Hello and welcome to Lifelong Learning on Location. I'm Ann Hansen and I'll be your host today as we go on location at Western Nevada Community College in Carson City. Today we'll be talking about the college's police officer training program. And with me is the commander of that program, Katie Durbin. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
And it's fun to be here.
Yes, and I know that summertime, while the other students leave, your cadets are working pretty hard, aren't they?
They are. They've had most of their I don't want to say boring classes, but their law classes and the classroom stuff behind them now. So what they're doing now is a lot of the hands-on training.
And that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is for them, and it is for me as well. Gets me out of the office.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And this program is an academic degree program, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And it's a post-certified academy?
It is a post-certified academy. When they're done with this, they can go out and apply for jobs any place in Nevada.
And you mentioned that they take law classes as well.
They do.
Tell us about the program and what it entails.
Well, they start out learning some of the basics of law, search and seizure, constitutional law, things like that. They have to go through report writing, and there's a full 45 hours of that class. They learn first responder, CPR, those types of things that officers need out in the field. In addition to that, we teach them firearms, emergency vehicle operations course, where they learn how to drive and drive safely.
Well, I noticed everything you mentioned strikes a chord, really. I mean, you hear, CPR obviously is critically important in an emergency situation pretty often, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You also mentioned the emergency driving, and I noticed the group out in the parking lot the other day.
Yep.
And what were they doing out there?
They're learning how to drive police units, combining safety techniques that are really kind of specific to police officers. They learn how to take corners safely, driving very swiftly. Fast is probably not a good word because we teach them how to take corners safely, straightaways a little differently than most people know how to drive. Most of the cadets that are out there now are breaking some very long-lived habits and learning how to drive differently. And they're having fun.
Oh, it looked like fun. I know you had kind of an obstacle course set up out there.
We do have an obstacle course. I was very lucky this time. I got to drive the bad guy car. And some of the cadets got in there with me as the unit behind us had their lights and sirens on. And they need the lights and sirens so they can get used to the noise and the distractions while they're chasing another vehicle. And it's fun to do.
So they need to be able to focus, really.
Exactly.
And you also mentioned search and seizure. There's another area that's really critical, isn't it?
It's very critical. If an officer doesn't know the law and how to apply it properly out in the field, anything that he does from that point on won't be admissible in court. So he really needs to know, or she really needs to know the basics.
Certainly you have men and women in this program, don't you?
Yes, we do.
And in fact, you're a postgraduate, aren't you?
I am. It's been a lot of years since I've been in the field. I started out in the prisons, decided that I didn't want to do that anymore, came back to school and got my degree. And with the help of Richard Finn, who is an instructor for criminal justice here on campus, we said it was time to build a program and help people enter the field of law enforcement, and that's what we did.
Well, and Western's program is a little bit different than some in that it's done in the evenings and weekends, isn't it?
Exactly. It's geared for those people who have families, who have different kinds of jobs, and want to enter that exciting and very tenuous field of law enforcement. So we do go nights and weekends. And
so that enables people who have other jobs to keep those jobs.
Exactly.
And that's really important.
Yes, it is. And it's a big commitment on their part. They work 40 hours a week at their regular job. Then they come to school for about 35 to 40 hours a week here.
And how long do they do that?
30 weeks.
Okay. And then they also, if they want the 2-year associate degree, they also have another year of coursework.
They have another year of coursework, and after that they can graduate with an AA
degree. And they can get a
degree.
College degree and be a police officer.
Exactly.
Wow.
And the best of both worlds.
The best of both worlds. And what happens when they finish their program normally?
Normally what happens is they start somewhere in the middle of the academy. They start applying to different agencies. Our luck, we've got about a 94% success rate in getting most of our cadets placed.
That's fantastic.
It is really fantastic.
Not many programs can say that.
No, and it's because we turn out a very good product here. Carson City, Douglas, Story County, Lyon County. They go as far as Idaho, California. I've got some in Henderson, Las Vegas, NHP all over the state. some out in Ely and Elko.
And what are they doing for those agencies?
They are law enforcement officers. They're patrolling out in the field. Some are still in the jails working. But eventually they'll hopefully all go out to the street and protect us all.
It's a pretty dangerous job.
Yes and no. Walking across the street can be dangerous. But we're not taught how to walk across the street for the most part. I mean, our parents tell us to look both ways, right? What we do here in the academy is teach them life-saving techniques. We teach them how to shoot firearms. We teach them how to drive. We teach them the communication skills that they practice so they can talk people down from volatile situations. Use their brains instead of their brawns.
Well, that's great because, you know, in years past, law enforcement had a bad rap, if you will, for using brawn instead of strategic communication.
Exactly. But any more law enforcement agencies are looking to hire intelligent, well-thinking individuals. They need to think quickly on their feet and they need to make good decisions. And part of the basic academy is teaching them how to do that.
So communication's a big part of this.
Yes, very much so. We teach them how to speak. We teach them how to talk on the radio. We also have a 911 dispatch program here at the college. And oftentimes I'll combine the academies because they do run concurrently.
Well, certainly one would be talking to the other.
Exactly. So our cadets get the practice of talking on the radio to actual dispatchers who are attending the dispatch class. And the dispatchers conversely get that same type of training dispatching either fire, medical, or cops to the scene when we do scenario training.
And how much money can they make in these fields? Can they make a decent living?
Oh, heavens, yes. Starting out wages for most of the local law enforcement agencies here is probably right around $41,000.
Wow, for a 2-year degree and in the post-academy. Huh?
Yeah, and there's a lot of agencies who actually give them a 2% bonus for getting a degree.
So that's a fairly lucrative college degree, really.
Yes, it is.
I mean, someone could go to college for 2 years and then come out with that kind of a starting salary. It's pretty nice. Of course, you have to have a passion for it, don't you?
You do. And the people who come here have a passion for starters. A lot of them are switching roles in life. We have mechanics. We have mothers who've never worked before. We have all kinds of people coming in. And they want to get into law enforcement. And they also want a good living and to raise their families.
Well, you know, there's so many cop shows on TV. Always have them.
There are.
And, you know, people are always talking about the CSIs and all those different fields that are related to policing. And how realistic are they, if at all?
Well, put it this way. A lot of my cadets come to me and tell me that they watch those shows and they point them out and say, and we're told not to do it that way. Because usually those shows it's television, it's movies, and it's not realistic. And they don't always practice proper safety techniques.
So what is the real world if you get called on a domestic, violence complaint? What is the real world? How does it work?
The real world, we teach the cadets to try to talk them down for starters, but we teach them the laws, when to arrest, when not to arrest. We tell them to be compassionate because that's part of what a good officer is, being compassionate. They have to be intelligent. They have to apply everything that they've ever learned, not just in the academy, but throughout life, and apply it to each and every single given situation. Domestic violence is probably the most serious call that any officer can report to because they don't know what they're going to come into contact with.
And it's always volatile.
Almost always volatile, yes. And normally there's small children involved. And it's heartbreaking to a lot of the officers because they're family people. They have kids. They want to do what's right and they don't want to upset the children. So we teach them how to handle small children and how to handle abusive partners, if you will, whether it's the female or the male. Traditionally, we think of domestic violence as a man beating on a woman. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's the reverse.
So they have to be ready for that,
and
not have a preconception that's going to color the judgment.
That's right. That the woman is going to be the victim, whereas the woman could be the one with the butcher knife coming at them. So we teach them those things.
I was just thinking about the role that the local agencies are starting to play in the war on drugs, and also certainly the meth problem in our communities. How do you deal with that in your courses?
That's very difficult. We do have some critical classes that they do attend, and we teach them how to take down, if you will, people who are high on drugs and how to handcuff them properly. We also teach them to recognize the effects of different drugs. Mm-hmm. They do go through some drug block training when we do our DUI training.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, but again, talk about volatile situations.
Very.
Because there might be a modus operandus for a certain kind of a crime, but when you throw in the drug, the person who might be high, anything can happen.
Exactly. Anything can happen,
yeah.
and it usually does if
yeah.
somebody's high on drugs. That's why officers go in with numerous tools, not just their guns that everybody thinks about. They go in with tasers, which is less lethal force, and a lot of times they will employ a taser so they don't have to hurt anyone. I mean, kill anyone. Right. A taser is going to immobilize you for maybe 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mm-hmm. And that's enough time to mobilize them, get them handcuffed, and get the situation under control.
How about ethics? Do you talk about ethics?
They do have ethics class. It's about a 4-hour block, but ethics is an ongoing thing. We teach them to be honest. We teach them the importance of that if they can't maintain integrity, in the classroom and in their personal lives, how could they possibly do it out there in the field working? And their word is their bond. When they go to court, they have to make sure that everything that they've done, everything that they've said, and everything that they've written in a report is honest and straightforward.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of person are you looking for to be in your post academy?
I'm looking for somebody who can think, someone who's not afraid to believe in themselves, someone who is intelligent enough to understand their limitations and keep pushing forward. The best cops are not always the ones that get the A's in class. The best cops are the ones who have the passion. They have the heart. They feel it inside where they want to help people, and that's what public service is all about, just helping other people.
I think sometimes people think that it's kind of a personal high kind of a career, but it's really a helping career, isn't it?
It really is, and it is a personal high. I mean, like I said before, each and every call that they go on, they don't know what they're going to encounter. There's an old joke that, and I'll try to be nice. There's an old
clean cake.
There's an old joke that they say cop work is 90% boredom interlaced with 10% of, oh my golly, what am I going to do now?
Just fear and trepidation.
It is. And the cops get a high, if you will. And we all do.
Well, it's an adrenaline. Certainly.
It's an adrenaline. It is an adrenaline rush. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get a high every time I drive one of our training units out there, and I get to go through the EVOC course. Mm-hmm. It's fun. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you temper that with, okay, I can't do this too quickly, or I'm going to get killed, or worse, I'm going to hurt somebody else.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking to people who are in high school or maybe starting college or parents with children, and they said, I want to be a police officer, what would you tell them? Think twice.
Do you want to do it because what you see on TV, or do you want to do it because you want to help your fellow man? I'd tell them that first. If they were truly wanting to enter the field, I'd tell them to write, take English courses. 92% of everything that a cop does is the power of the pen. They have to write reports. So
they have to be clear thinkers.
They have to be very clear thinkers. They have to be very articulate. They have to be able to spell, write well. They need to take courses that encourage critical thinking, math courses. Believe it or not, my cadets go through a 40-hour accident investigation course. They have to learn to triangulate accidents.
Geometry.
Mm-hmm. It can only help.
For a crime scene when you're measuring.
Exactly. And they have to do all those things. And they go through crime scene investigation, accident investigation. It takes math skills, it takes writing skills, it takes good communication skills.
And so what are some of the areas that they might move into if they don't want to be on the street or if they want to do another part of law enforcement?
Oh heavens, I have a lot of them that have entered juvenile probation. They want to work with kids and turn them around. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have gone into adult parole and probations, fire marshals, court bailiffs, because they don't want to go out in the street. All of these require post-certification. Investigators for the AG's office or even the district attorney's office if they want to stay local.
And of course, they could also tie into a law degree, couldn't they?
They could, believe it or not. There's a lot of cops out there who have quit being cops and have gone on to become very effective lawyers.
Well, I would imagine you can see a lot of sides of it.
Yes, you can.
And it's also a very research-oriented degree, just like law.
Yes, it is.
A lot of getting down to brass tacks, you know.
And I always tell my cadets, you don't have to memorize all the laws. That's crazy. But you better know where you need to search.
Right.
What book to go to.
Right, which is research. I mean, you have to be
Exactly.
able to do that. And I know that you have a lot of partnerships with other agencies that help make this successful for your students.
Oh, yes. Most of our local law enforcement agencies, Douglas County, Carson City, Lyon County, NHP, we have instructors from each of those agencies and more that come in and either donate their time or encourage our cadets to come out and work for them, do ride-alongs. We have the perfect spot for hiring. Each agency comes in usually at the beginning of the year and they promote themselves and they say, if you want to get a job, come see us.
So you're really giving them opportunities from the first day.
From the very first day, yes.
And I would assume you have a very good working relationship with these local agencies.
Oh, very much so, yes.
I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship, isn't it?
It is. And it works for us, and they've all been wonderful.
Well, that's what you want to hear, and I think that people can be excited about the fact that we have such a good program locally.
I think so. We do a lot of good work for the agencies. We give them well-qualified people to hire right off the bat. Our students come to us because they want to make themselves prepared to go get a job. They know that it's going to be that much easier on them.
Very good. Well, I'd like to meet some of your students, and we'll take a break, and then we'll come back, and I'll be joined by a few of the cadets in the Western Nevada Community College Peace Officer Academy. I'm joined by two members of the Western Nevada Community College Peace Officer Academy. We have Vanessa Adrian and Zach Westbrook. Welcome.
Hi.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. Well, I know you guys are working through the summer where a lot of kids are taking the summer off. Is that kind of a bummer?
Not really.
We just want to get it over with.
I'm sure.
It's a lot of fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have both been in the program for the full year, haven't you? You're working on the degree. Are you getting degrees too?
Probably after we get done with this, I will.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about yourselves. Where are you from, Vanessa?
I'm from Carson City, born and raised. I attended WNCC in the spring of 2003, I believe. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
How about you, Zach?
I'm originally from Oklahoma, grew up on a farm, bounced around a lot from here in Oklahoma and California. And I just bought my first house here, so I plan on staying here for a while.
Very good. And tell me how you both came to become part of the Western Nevada Peace Officer Academy.
I had a class next to the Post Academy a few semesters ago, and I just got interested and learned more information about it and went to go see Katie Durbin, the commander, and decided it was for me.
How about you, Zach?
I've been a mechanic pretty much my whole life, and I was kind of tired of the same shop, four walls, same people, same thing every day, so wanted something a little different.
So neither one of you woke up with, or grew up with a childhood dream of being a police officer?
No, not really.
How about
really.
you?
I've always it's kind of interested me, but not my whole life now.
And being a woman, you always wonder if women will be interested in this field because it's kind of a rough and tumble field, isn't it?
It's not for everyone, but I knew it was for me just because of the way I am and my personality. It was just a good match.
Explain that a little bit more.
Oh, well, I've been a tomboy my whole life, and I can't picture myself in front of an office and, your basic female role. Mm-hmm. It's just not my thing.
So this is more active, et cetera?
More active, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Size doesn't really matter with her. I'm like twice her size, and she throws me around like she owns me.
You must be pretty strong.
He deserves it, though.
Sounds like you guys have bonded as a class.
Yeah.
Is it men and women in the class?
Yes.
Okay. And do you take all your courses together?
Yes.
So you really become a tight-knit learning community, I would think.
Really tight.
Yeah, it's like a brotherhood.
I'm sure it is. And, what do you think that you will do when you finish the program?
Finish my associates. I want to get my bachelor's, but as far as law enforcement, I plan to join an agency.
Mm-hmm. And you?
Pretty much the same thing. I want to continue my education, hopefully end up getting my bachelor's, and end up working for any agency.
Does it scare you? It's kind of a dangerous field, at least from my perspective.
Not really. I mean, there's danger in anything you do. I mean,
Right.
you can get hit by a bus crossing the street, so I mean,
Do you feel like you're getting the techniques that you need to be safe in your job?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, most definitely.
Tell me specifically what things you're doing that you think are going to help you.
Well, it's been drilled into us since the first day of the academy that officer safety is paramount. We get to go home at night and see our families, and they teach us everything, every precaution that we have to take to make sure that we get to go home at night every day. So.
Very good.
And they teach us how to defend ourselves pretty good through our DT course. I mean, like I said before, she can throw me around like like anybody else can, and it doesn't really matter what size you are. So I mean, they teach you pretty much how to take care of yourself.
How do your families feel about you being in this program?
Well, my family wasn't very happy when I told them, but my dad wasn't surprised because he knew that it would be something that would just fit me. And my son, I had to ask him permission to join the academy because if he said no, I wasn't going to do it. And now he talks about when he goes to the academy, he's already looking forward to it. So they're
How
very
old is he?
supportive. 6 years old.
Oh, okay. So he's pretty proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
How about you, Zach?
They're really supportive about it. My wife's been really good about taking care of me while I've been doing this and understanding that I'm not going to be home all the time, and that's pretty much it.
I mean, it's really kind of a 24/7 job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be called out anytime, any day, holidays,
yeah.
birthdays, whatever.
Yeah.
And does that bother you?
Not really, no.
No.
So you really want to? I mean, is your reason for doing this for the thrill, or to help people, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of everything all together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting, and you get to help people that really need it. And will take it if they can.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think is the most interesting part of being a police officer?
The part where you get to help others.
Do you?
It's a very noble profession, I think. Not everyone sees that, but I do. So that's the part that interests me. And they have good benefits as well, and that's important when you have a family.
Definitely.
Me, it's the dealing with pretty much any type of person. I mean, down from a homeless guy to a doctor and a lawyer, pretty much having the same kind of contact with everybody.
It kind of equalizes people, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
But what about, do you worry that you might become cynical because you're going to see the negative side of life pretty often?
No, I don't think so.
You don't?
I don't think so either. No.
Well, that's good. I mean, I always think that people can get jaded, because they get to see, people in their least flattering situations if they're in your line of work. And, how do you prevent that?
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
But
Live your life the way you
Yeah.
normally would. And,
What do you think is best about the academy? What kind of an experience has it been for you?
but for me, it's been a lot of fun.
Has it?
Yeah, from the very beginning. And I mean, just you become really good friends with everybody that you're in the academy with, and always you go out to dinner together, go practice shooting, whatever.
How about you? What's been the most interesting part of the academy for you?
I don't think I can pinpoint to one thing because I think everything as a whole has helped me. And for example, first responder, now I know how to deal with someone that is choking, an infant that isn't breathing, and that's something that I think everyone should know regardless of what profession they're in. So I'm glad that Katie offers that in her program. But like he said, the brotherhood that you get out of it, I've already experienced it. If I go on a ride along with Carson Sheriffs, I know some of the people there, and we can always go back to talking about the academy because that's something we all have in common. So.
What do you learn about criminals and the criminal mind? I mean, is there, how do you learn to spot that, to find that?
It's hard. Just by talking to a person, you just have to be a little more observant than the normal person would be. For example, if Zach and I were eating, we'd both be fighting for the chair that's facing the door because we just always keep a lookout, of our surroundings. And it's just something you pick up as you go.
People's body language will give them away too.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Yes. So you're learning these techniques that will serve you through your whole life, really. Yes. How about your career? I mean, what do you think down the road? Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? Either one of you.
Hopefully a juvenile probation officer, because that's why I started at the college in the first place. But I thought law enforcement would help me get there.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it certainly gives you lots of options, doesn't it?
Yes. It's a stepping stone. So.
Very good. How about you?
Hopefully working my way up to becoming a detective. Mm-hmm. I'm really interested in how things work and why things happened and what order and that kind of thing. So.
Your commander, Katie, was talking about how important it is to have good communication skills, and you both definitely have very good oral speaking skills. How important is it to be able to write well?
It's very important.
Your job depends on it. If you can't write, you can't really be in an agency, because if you don't write that something happened, then in the eyes of the judge it didn't happen, and you could lose a lot of cases. So it's 90% of the job, I would think.
No kidding.
Lawyers will tear apart any bad report, or if you misspell words, or if you weren't really sure about what time things happened, stuff like that.
Is there anything that you're nervous about going into the field? Anything that you kind of fear, like, oh, I hope I don't have to deal with blank, or something?
Not really. I kind of expect to have to deal with pretty much anybody and everybody. So.
How about you?
The only thing I'm nervous about is the schedules, because you have to keep that tight family, and when you begin, you get the short end of the stick. You have to work weekends, holidays, but that's to be expected.
Absolutely. What would you tell a person who's watching us today who might be thinking about being a law enforcement officer? What advice would you give them?
Go ahead.
First, what I did was I took a few classes. I took a few English classes here at WNCC, and then I went to talk to Katie Durbin, and I told her that I was looking into becoming a police officer, and she guided me through there. So it's a process, but I would recommend going and taking some classes first.
To check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. How about you?
I would say to make sure that it's really what you want to do. I mean, it takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and it's kind of stressful just going to the academy. So if you're not really 100% sure, you don't want to make it like halfway through and decide you don't want to do it anymore. You definitely want to make sure that it's really what you want to do.
Good advice, both of you. I want to thank you both for being here.
Oh, thank you.
And good luck to you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us on Lifelong Learning. I'm Ann Hansen from Western Nevada Community College. If you have any questions about this or other programs at WNCC, call us at 445-3000 or find us on the website at wnc.edu.